Sometimes you find yourself saying, "I'm sorry," before you even realize it. You bump into someone, and even though it was them who stepped into your path, you apologize. Someone raises their voice at you, and somehow you end up saying sorry just to calm them down. You're not sure why it happens. It's automatic, like breathing. And after a while, those two words, "I'm sorry," stop meaning what they're supposed to mean. They become a habit, a reflex, and somewhere deep down, they become a quiet kind of apology for existing. There's a certain kind of person who carries guilt like a shadow, not the guilt that comes from doing something wrong, but the guilt that comes from wanting to make sure everyone else is okay. They say sorry because they've learned that peace often depends on their ability to take the blame, because somewhere in their story, they learned that harmony only exists when they shrink themselves down. Maybe it started in childhood, when raising your voice or standing your ground led to tension in the room, when your emotions were too much, your mistakes too big, your needs too demanding. You learned that being good meant being quiet, that love came easier when you were agreeable, that if you could just smooth things over, maybe no one would get angry. And so you became a peacemaker, a caretaker, the emotional glue holding everyone else together. And yet, that kind of peace comes with a cost. Because when you're always trying to make sure everyone else feels comfortable, you start to disappear. You say sorry for speaking up, for having boundaries, for needing rest, for not replying fast enough, for simply being human. You begin to see your existence as something that needs constant justification. It's not that you enjoy apologizing, it's that it feels safer than being misunderstood. It's easier to take the blame than to risk rejection. And so, even when logic tells you it's not your fault, your body tells you otherwise. Your nervous system remembers what your mind has tried to forget, that safety once depended on keeping the peace. Have you ever noticed how sometimes "I'm sorry" slips out not as an apology, but as a shield? You say it before expressing your feelings, like cushioning a blow. "I'm sorry, but this really hurt me." Or you say it when you need something. "I'm sorry, could you help me with this?" It's as if you're asking for permission to exist, to take up space, to be seen. Psychologists call this people-pleasing, a behavior born from fear of conflict or rejection. But beneath that, it's really about fear of disconnection, because somewhere deep inside, you equate being loved with being easy to love. And that means never upsetting anyone, never disappointing, never being the reason someone walks away. So, when things go wrong, you're the first to say sorry, even when you shouldn't be. You've probably heard people say, "Stop apologizing so much," and you might have tried. But it's not that simple, is it? Because apologizing isn't just a word to you. It's a language of safety. It's the way you hold control in situations that feel unpredictable. It's how you try to keep people close. It's how you've learned to show care. You might apologize for being tired, for not being as cheerful as usual, for needing time alone. You might apologize for crying, as if emotions were something to hide. You might even apologize when someone else hurts you, because taking responsibility feels easier than facing the pain of their indifference. You carry the emotional weight of other people's comfort, and somehow that becomes your silent purpose. But here's the truth that's hard to accept. It's not your job to protect everyone's feelings. It's not your job to absorb blame just to make things smooth again. You don't have to apologize for having needs. You don't have to apologize for being misunderstood. You don't have to apologize for existing as a complex, emotional, imperfect human being. There's a quiet kind of power in learning when not to say sorry. It's the power of standing still when you'd usually shrink. It's the power of letting silence speak where you once filled it with guilt. It's the moment you start realizing that peace built on self-erasure isn't peace, it's surrender. And you deserve more than survival. You deserve relationships where understanding doesn't require an apology, where your feelings don't need translation through guilt, where love isn't conditional on how small you can make yourself. You deserve relationships where understanding doesn't require an apology, where your feelings don't need to be edited before being expressed, where you can say what you mean, gently, honestly, without bracing for impact. But for many people, that kind of emotional safety feels foreign, because when you've spent years apologizing for things that weren't your fault, you start to believe that conflict itself is dangerous, that love is fragile, that peace depends on your ability to fix everything quickly, even if it means pretending you're the problem. Somewhere along the line, you were taught that being good meant being agreeable. Maybe you grew up in a house where emotions were unpredictable, where anger came without warning, where silence was punishment, or where love was something you had to earn. Maybe you were the child who tried to keep the peace when adults argued. Maybe you learned to read moods like maps, scanning every expression, every tone, every sigh, because understanding other people was safer than being understood. Psychologists call this hypervigilance, when your nervous system stays on alert, even in calm moments. It's a survival instinct that forms when safety depends on your awareness of others' emotions. So now, even as an adult, your body still remembers that lesson. It scans for tension before it appears. And the quickest way to disarm tension? Apologize. I'm sorry becomes a spell, a way to restore balance, to keep things from breaking. But the problem is, you start casting that spell even when there's no danger. Someone sighs. You apologize. Someone disagrees. You apologize. Someone gets quiet. You apologize. Because your nervous system can't tell the difference between actual conflict and perceived threat. It only knows one thing. Peace must be protected at all costs. And yet, what begins as protection slowly becomes self-erasure. Because every unnecessary apology chips away at your sense of worth. It tells your mind over and over that you are somehow responsible for how everyone else feels, that your comfort comes second, that you are safest only when others are happy. Over time, you begin to equate your goodness with your guilt. If you feel guilty, you feel safe. If you're blamed, at least it means you're still part of the story. If you apologize, maybe it means they'll stay. So, I'm sorry becomes a bridge you keep building, not to cross it, but to stop others from walking away. You start to notice it everywhere. In text messages, you type, "Sorry for bothering you," before asking a simple question. In emails, "Sorry for the delay," even when you responded on time. In relationships, "Sorry for being emotional," "Sorry for asking again," "Sorry for needing reassurance." It becomes the background noise of your communication, an invisible habit that whispers, "I'm sorry for taking up space, but you are not a burden, you are not too much, and you don't need to keep apologizing just to feel worthy of kindness." This reflex doesn't make you weak. It means you were trained to survive through softness. It means you once found safety in surrender. And that's something to be gentle with, not ashamed of. Think about it. When a child apologizes for something they didn't do, it's not because they love guilt, it's because they love connection. They'd rather take the blame than risk losing warmth. They'd rather say, "I'm sorry," than feel invisible. And so they grow into adults who apologize not out of guilt, but out of fear of disconnection. When you understand that, you start to see your apologies differently. They're not flaws, they're echoes. Echoes of moments when you felt responsible for keeping the world from falling apart. Echoes of a time when your voice was smaller and your peace depended on how well you could read the room. You're not broken, you're conditioned. And that means you can recondition yourself. It doesn't happen overnight. It starts with small, quiet moments, the ones where you notice the "I'm sorry" forming on your tongue, and you pause. You ask yourself, did I actually do something wrong? If not, you try something else. You replace "I'm sorry" with "thank you." Instead of "sorry for being late," you say "thank you for waiting." Instead of "sorry for bothering you," you say "thank you for your time." You slowly shift from guilt to gratitude, from apology to awareness. And every time you do, something changes in your body. You feel the subtle discomfort of breaking an old pattern. You feel the tension of silence that doesn't need to be filled with apology. And that's growth. That's healing in real time. Because healing isn't about never saying sorry again. It's about meaning it when you do. It's about letting "I'm sorry" become sacred again, reserved for the moments when you truly hurt someone. It's about letting your empathy exist without guilt attached to it. You'll start to notice something beautiful happening.